Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Magnetdale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnetdale, and welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers. It's a podcast. We're here. We're two queer trans women.
Yeah.
We're wifey types. We talk about stuff.
And Smudge.
And Smudge. Smudge is here too sometimes.
Yeah.
How are you doing today?
I'm sleepy.
I'm sleepy too. It's been a long old day.
It's only, I was going to say it's been a long week, but it's only Tuesday.
But
it has been a long week.
It simultaneously feels like it should be Monday and it should be Friday. It's one of those...
I wish it was Friday, I'd love that.
I can't work out where in the week I am today, if I'm honest. I should have more week and simultaneously less week left.
It didn't help that I felt like I'd blinked and missed the weekend.
Yeah, I went out both days of the weekend, you went out one day of the weekend.
Yeah.
And not being at home during the weekend makes it feel less like the weekend happened, right?
I think so.
I need time to just do nothing and splodge for it to feel like a weekend.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I love seeing the people when I see the people, but
indeed.
also, like...
I love doing the activities.
I need the flop.
Yeah, I need some... This time is allocated for nothing. But we did do some things with our time.
We did!
Some of which were at the weekend. Do we want to talk about Bridge Command and MG Epsilon?
We might have gone back to Bridge Command to do another mission ahead of a campaign because we wanted some extra practice.
It almost seemed like it was meant to be, because I was meant to be working Sunday, and that got moved right at about the same time as you were looking at the Bridge Command website. I was like, oh, it's a sign.
And then you did a bit of freelance work that was just enough to cover your
that
ticket.
paid exactly the price of my Bridge Command ticket. I was like, the universe is trying to tell me I was right to do this.
Right.
So yeah, we went back to Vauxhall in London and did more Starship Adventures.
We did.
What do you think of our new Starship adventure?
It was nice to see the other ships. So this time we were on the UCN Takanami, and last time we were on the Havoc. It's interesting how it's different.
Yeah.
In that you've got, like, two positions up front for, like, seated position rather than just the one person at con who was basically driving the ship.
Yeah, the navigation
On the
desk,
Havoc.
rather than being a standing position at the back of the room on the Havoc, is a seated, like a front of the bridge position.
It does make sense, I guess, to have the person who's doing the navigating sitting next to the person doing the driving.
Yeah,
They are the sat-nav.
They're both sat by the front window with the captain able to go here, and the two of them are like, yeah, we can liaise on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it also makes sense for if you have to, like, someone has to leave their desk for a minute to go deal with something, one person can kind of handle both of the navigation tasks.
Not someone else's desk.
Not without permission, you can with permission.
I see.
If they've authorized you to do so.
Nah.
But yeah, it's similarly narrow, like it doesn't feel a lot larger.
No.
Despite having like a really big additional central room.
Yes, that was certainly a whole thing because I was engineer again, mainly on power management.
But you got to do a little running around.
I got to do a little bit of running around, which made me realise like that extra space really does make a difference. And I imagine on like longer missions and campaign missions, that would make a huge difference to be like, yeah, you're going to do a lot of running around, and some of that running around is going to be through this giant corridor, that also there's like a recovery bed in there. There's a detention cell in there.
Yes, there is. Yeah, because when we do our campaign in a couple of months, we're doing it on the Takanami, which is the bigger ship, and you are going to be doing the I don't have a desk, I'm just running around engineering is going to be a big part of your job.
Yes.
Despite like not being that much larger generally, it's a lot more space for you to run up and down along if you're doing the physical switches.
Yes.
And trying to get to like, oh, I've got to replace a crystal that might be the far end of this extra long corridor.
I've got to re-resonate this crystal.
So yeah, you got to do a little bit less being at the desk this time.
Yeah, I was mostly at the desk. I jumped in a bit early on the volunteering for stuff and ended up being chief engineer again. But I did get to change batteries, which was nice. And I knew enough from the last session we played to help explain it to the person who was predominantly on the running around section. And they were basically going, oh, you're chief engineer? Cool, I'm going to take all of my cues from you. So I was like, cool. So as we were going around, I was pointing out like where the fuse coils or whatever they're called are. Because I'd spotted a couple that hadn't been sort of pointed out to us. They also mentioned that there was something involving the warp drive. There's like little flicky switches. So we went and we were pointing to each other, like, hey, here's the one in this room, here's the one in that room.
It seemed kind of fun you having a little pair of you that was sort of on the same thing as like a little sub-team.
Yeah, and man, maybe that's how we should have been working on the other one, but it wasn't sort of introduced in that way, and I don't think it helped that neither of us had any experience with running that section.
The impression I get is that you're going to be the opposite side of that pair in our campaign, so you'll have done really the whole gambit of engineering.
I feel like there's one other engineering role that I haven't done, and I can't think what it is. Is drones engineering?
I think no, drones is weapons because it's beams, missiles, because it's 3 spots for each. Engineer is on the science team.
Oh.
I think is what it is. So it would be nav, comms, and engineer? No.
I'm not sure. Anyway, there are 4 departments, and it's worth bringing up the 4 different departments because we found out there's a generalist badge that you can get if you've worked in all 4 sections of the thing.
You get a free large circular patch to put on your uniform that's like, I worked in all 4 departments.
Yeah.
And that has encouraged me to go in future missions. I am going to cycle through other things. I volunteered for captain again on this one just because I was like, that first time I volunteered to be captain without understanding much of the systems going on around me. And I was like, I want to give captain one more go. To see whether it goes more smoothly with a greater understanding of the positions around the ship, particularly having played some Empty Epsilon, and we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
Getting a bit of a grip of all the systems. But also, I brought a notebook and pen and was
You remembered all of the things.
I feel like just a little notebook and a pen and writing a couple of notes along the way would greatly improve my efficiency as a captain, and I want to test that.
And you remembered what coordinates we were supposed to be going to?
I had all of my proper nouns written down. So instead of being like, that cult we're dealing with, I could be like, no, the cult of torment. I know what they're called, the cult of torment.
And your first officer was, willing to just come in and give you quick capsule reviews of.
Oh yeah, I was.
That you might have missed.
Because we had a full team of 14, so we had all of the crew positions plus a dedicated team on the shuttle.
Yes.
So the person who was heading up flying the shuttle was also first officer. So occasionally, if I was trying to keep things from falling apart, I would go, cool, can you talk to the NPC for a minute? Tell me, bullet-pointed proper nouns I need to know.
Yeah.
Give me the bullet points, I'll write them down, I'll have them on here. That helped a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, it was surprisingly helpful just to have, we've got this cult called the Cult of Torment. They don't do negotiation, they worship the Void.
We've been told there's one ship we're not to fire.
Yeah, I know the name of that ship, so I can keep looking at it and going, reminder, weapons. I know I've told you 3 times, but I'm reminding you, this
Whatever
is the
you do, don't shoot
Don't shoot this one. Oh, halfway through the mission we found out another one. Don't shoot that one either.
Yeah. And you mentioned that we had a guest. That was interesting as well, because I was out changing batteries because the other running around engineer was in the toilet. And all of a sudden, one of the airlock doors opened and there was just a random.
So what didn't help is there were a couple of technical problems that happened during this mission. And I will say, I am impressed at how well the GM seamlessly behind the scenes fudged the numbers to get things up and running.
Yeah.
Your desk had touchscreen issues on one of the screens.
Yes.
And very quickly they sorted it out so that you had tab selection on your other screen.
Yes.
To still be able to do those controls. We had issues with docking and undocking from this ship we were meeting. And as such, I think they just pretended we docked and had the person come onto the ship. Which is fine, except it meant that me as the captain, I didn't know that the person had boarded the ship because I thought we were still fiddling around with trying to dock.
And I was just very confused why this tiny goth had just arrived.
Yeah, so you were just like, hello, you should speak to the captain.
I was like, have you wandered in from the bar? I don't know what's happening.
No.
I don't know I haven't been on the bridge for a few minutes.
Yeah, I assume you're important, come to the captain.
You should probably talk to someone who does communicating verbally more.
This is a thing that, like, we knew was a possibility from, like, we watched the beginning of that People Make Games video, enough to go, it is a possibility that someone from another faction of space people might come board our ship for some reason.
People, if you will.
Yeah, and our first mission didn't have that, but it was a unique thing to this one for us, was this defector ended up coming and boarding our ship, and it's really fun interacting with the actors because they're not there. They're there to be a barrier, and as such, they
yes-anding.
Yeah, they break a little of the rule of yes and of improv. So, initially when they boarded, they were like, everything seems very chaotic. I was like, apologies, we're having a couple of technical issues. They're sorted now.
And they were like, so your ship's crashed.
Wait, you're having technical issues, so your ship's crashed. Am I going to be safe? No, you're going to be perfectly safe. Well, you said that literally moments ago you were having technical issues. We had a slightly combative NPC that we had to get to be on board with things. But again, by having my little notebook of notes, things I appreciated, I knew exactly what categories of things I was able to offer in order to get cooperation. And I was like, I have the wording down, which means if I want to interpret a thing in a way, I can go, that word they said in the briefing is vague enough that I can do the thing that this NPC wants me to do.
Also, it really helped with the debrief at the end, because you were able to give a very concise description of the thing. Speaking of the end, I got promoted, so did my fellow engineer.
Yeah, you did.
I'm now a Dom Lieutenant. Like a Sub-Lieutenant, but, more toppy.
Both the engineering team got their promotions. Very well deserved. We were on a mission that was largely crewed by a stag do.
Yes. To be fair, they were one of the most chill stag do's I've ever encountered.
In terms of stag do's we could have been on this with, they didn't seem like they were too drunk to pay attention. To follow rules and instructions. They weren't like rude or laddish or bigoted, which is puts them ahead of most stag do's I've encountered.
They were quite trigger happy, but
they were a bit trigger happy and occasionally a little more interested in having a bit of a laugh and a chat with each other than listening to important shouts from other desks or the captain.
Yes.
There was one point where I did walk up to someone, I tried addressing by the name of his station. He was not paying attention. I'd written down names, so I came over and I was like, first name, I need your attention. And he is just not paying attention as I'm stood next to him saying his first name at him. Got there eventually.
Yikes.
But we got through the mission.
Yeah. As was pointed out by several people, it didn't feel particularly diplomatic, considering we were told right from the off that a lot of these people don't want to communicate and we will have to, get involved in a firefight.
So here's the thing. We were given an NPC we didn't ultimately end up interacting with who would be open to negotiations, who would be sympathetic to our cause.
Right.
And I suspect that is what the thread we were supposed to be following.
Right.
The reason that we ultimately didn't follow that thread is we had a couple of issues that sort of waylaid us. One of which was our drone pilot. A couple of their drones got destroyed, and they didn't notice, and they started very assertively demanding that their drones had been left behind, and we had to go back and get their drones, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to play the game.
Despite still having 3 drones.
Despite still having 3 drones they could still have used, and the drones weren't left behind, they were destroyed. So a couple of things like that, where it was an ultimately meaningless chase to go back and get a thing, or, okay, the thing we have to pick up is right there, get it in the tractor beam, pull it in, and that becoming a 10-minute diversion as people insisted that the cone on the back of the ship for dropping mines was definitely the tractor beam. And because of a couple of things like that, we didn't have time to investigate the potentially sympathetic NPC. What ultimately happened was a beacon started going off, and we were given a warning of if we don't deal with that beacon, a very large number of ships will descend, and this will become quickly an unwinnable fight.
Yes.
So we had to go and deal with the beacon and go fight the big bad before reinforcements could get in, rather than going and doing what I suspect would have been attempting to do diplomacy with the sympathetic person within the faction that maybe could have become the new head. I can see where, if there was an opportunity to redo that mission, where the diplomacy lay and where it was missed. And, part of that I think comes from the group that we were there with on the day. Part of it comes from just diplomacy was a window and we missed an opportunity and we made the best of what we had.
True. We did meet some lovely people. Your first officer was lovely.
Oh, yes.
My fellow engineer was lovely. The person we met from Amsterdam who was on holiday, they'd come to their first
Bridge
Command session the previous Saturday.
Yeah.
And had since then run 9 sessions.
Yeah, they were like, oh, I enjoyed this and I don't have a lot booked in my week here in London. I'm just going to do as many of these as I can before I have to go home.
You didn't take a vacation in the UK, you took a vacation in space.
But yeah, I definitely felt like I got a lot out of doing Captain a second time.
Yeah.
I feel like the person we had doing the tutorial did a much better job than the first one we had of pointing out some of the common pitfalls that roles can fall into, such as this second tutorial person being like, your power cores will not recharge if they're over there on the desk. They have to be in the wall to recharge.
Yes.
Things like that. I was like, good.
I felt like this, regarding power cores and recharging and things, went so much smoother, although I was asked the same question multiple times about how the batteries work.
Yes.
But I had internalised it from the previous session and from our...
Someone may also have tried to steal one of your batteries at one point.
Someone else did also just randomly change one of the batteries while I wasn't in the room. And then try and ask, like, hey, we've only got one battery in the shuttle. Could we have this one as a spare?
No, the secret is that the shuttle's battery recharge is really bloody fast, so you probably don't need it. Yeah, I think the only remaining thing that wasn't well tutorialized, that I'm only aware of from conversations with other people, is that the crew in the shuttle can be on the radio and chatting with the main ship crew.
Right.
So that, like, the captain can be giving them orders, or, like, first officer can be going,
right.
Oh, we want to do this, is that, who are you targeting, we'll target the others.
Is the shuttle warp capable?
I don't know if it's warp capable, but what they were doing was...
So as long as we picked it up before we left.
Oh, yeah. I think it's warp capable.
Right.
But the point being, they were separating off during firefights, and they were doing a good job of, like, trying to assess who we were shooting at, and they would go shoot whoever else.
Right.
But for things like when mid-battle information about do not shoot X person comes up, what I needed to be doing, I've learned, is talk to comms, because comms can open a link to the shuttle, and I can be talking to the shuttle alongside everyone else, and shuttle can be getting communication.
Can you put the shuttle on the main view screen?
I don't know if they can be on the view screen. I know they can be on audio on the bridge. Maybe they can be on the view screen.
That would be cool.
Right, wouldn't it be good? But yes, that's one thing that I don't think the tutorial covered, is that you can do that.
Okay.
Useful to know, because we're having a shuttle crew for the campaign, that I believe from the shuttle we can contact comms and ask comms to put us through to the main bridge.
Nice.
As well.
Yes, interesting. I did notice that the shuttle crew very often just were like, okay, we're off back in the ship, and we'll be back in a minute. Yeah. And they just pootle off, and you'd see them, like, on the main view screen, just, like, fly off and around our enemies and, like, try and, like, flank them.
They're very maneuverable, and they can be a bit more aggressive in combat because their battery recharges so fast.
Not only that, but they can, because they're so maneuverable and so quick, they can get into usually the way this works is there's usually, like, beam weapons coming out the front in a cone, and sometimes there's beam weapons coming out the back in a cone, but there's usually, like, a blind spot on the side, which can be missiles, which we've learnt from playing MT Epsilon, but very often it seems in Bridge Command, though, that isn't the case, which means they have this perfect opportunity to just be, like, right in there, in this blind spot, just firing.
Yeah, it was interesting, because that crew basically ended up doing a lot of, like, when we're not in combat, they would come dock and go, is there anyone we need to be talking to? Is there anyone that needs help? What can we be doing as, like, a little floating crew? And then as soon as combat started, they were like, Captain, do you want us in the shuttle? I was like, yes. any group of you that is willing to go off and be independent and that I can trust you to do your jobs,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, you had a great first officer. And as we said at the time, we will probably bump into this person again.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun, and I'm very much looking forward to campaign doing.
Yeah.
Which is rapidly approaching. Also, we got to meet the mascot of our campaign crew.
We got to meet Gobi.
Yeah.
The Gobi.
Gobi, the little cauliflower with a little mission insignia on them.
And an identity badge.
Yeah.
We also met Glorb.
Yeah, I don't know what
I would like to know more of the story of Glorb, but I might have to ask in the Bridge Command
It's
Discord.
very exciting that we're part of a group that has enough of a legacy, seemingly, at Bridge Commander to have their mascot permanently in the bar on a shelf.
Permanently in the bar, and there is apparently in the event of a fire, Glorb and Gobi will be evacuated, but they have to be carried because they don't have legs.
Also, I very much appreciated the little details that I started to notice this second viewing, such as the Ask 25, I need to ask ID in the bar.
They do accept UCN ID.
Yeah, being personalised a little bit to fit in the space setting. So it's like, yeah, we'll accept this ID, your passport, your UCN military ID card. There was a few things like that as I looked around where I was like, oh, you have to have this thing here. You've put some effort into it, and I like that.
Nice.
So yeah, while we're on this, should we talk about MT Epsilon?
Let's talk about MT Epsilon, because not only did we go and play Bridge Command, we came home and played 4 hours of MT Epsilon.
Yeah, which is the open source program that is the basis that Bridge Command runs on.
Indeed.
We had a bit of a play around with how few people can you run a ship with.
And 2 is manageable.
Yeah.
Not ideal, but manageable.
2 is manageable because you can be doing flying and shooting from a single screen, and you can be hacking and getting information, which, in the midst of battle, those are the 2 things you kind of need to be doing both of. Yeah, how did you find this? Because I'd been playing around the other week with soloing it, but this was your first time playing?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure I could manage that solo, but it did constantly feel like I could do more than I had the screens for.
Yeah.
When I was just running one section, it felt like I just needed a little bit more to keep me going.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was running 2, I was like, this is quite hectic.
Yeah.
But, when you sent the AA footage, spoilers for this week's AA, I guess, you had one that was 4 screens on one recording?
Yeah.
So, can you set it up so that it has multiple screens on?
So you can either open multiple instances on one machine. So you can be running multiple instances for do you want multiple views and to be clicking between them as different instances?
Oh, that'd be cool. Because I could stick one on the second monitor.
Right, yeah, there's a few ways you can set it up. But yeah, it is tricky. It's a little unforgiving in places.
Yes.
It's clearly built... Because it's open source, a lot of the mission content that is in there feels designed for people who are going to get really hardcore into it and to give them an upper ceiling challenge. There's a few things that I struggle to gel with. I don't get on well with the ships that fire from the side. I find
it's difficult to work out how to suitably broadside someone.
Yeah, because homing missiles are great. But when they fire out your side, you need to really be at a very specific angle to get them enough time to curve.
No, you need to be at a very
hitting.
specific distance, because if you're too close, they won't be able to homing target. But you can. I have worked out what all the gauges mean.
Yeah,
and I've realised that if you're a very specific sort of distance away, all of a sudden the things snap from being only shooting out
is this when they cross over each
Yes.
other? Oh!
That's basically telling you that the homing from here will be enough to perfectly hit the ship in front of you.
That I did not know. Yeah, I was used to... Because my first experiments were with the front-firing ships, where relatively, if it's within a 60-degree cone of the front of your ship, it'll probably home towards all right.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest difficulty with things that only shoot from the sides is the HVLIs, which are basically just large lead slugs, and it shoots 5 in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern, but they will only go directly straight out, so you need to have, like, correctly set up your angle for broadsiding. And a lot of the ships that we were encountering were very good at just constantly staying just out of range.
Yeah.
So you're trying to twist around and around and around, and it's just, like, not... There's just never going to get in range.
And
which means you have to rely on beam weapons.
Yeah, I need to look up gameplay of people playing with that ship to go, is there anything that we're missing that would, like, make those kind of maneuvers easier to do?
Yeah, it's weird. I can't find a huge amount of footage for Empty Epsilon.
Agreed,
I have found stuff for people who are, like playing modded versions. Like, I saw a Trek mod that someone had done, that makes the the controls look more like the LCARS system.
Yeah.
And that they had basically put in the Starfleet Academy mission of the Kobayashi Maru.
Of course they did.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
And someone's also done a Star Wars mod.
Yeah.
So that you can do... I don't know the full details on that one, but I was like, that again seems interesting. I can see the two groups of people that would be very into playing this.
Yeah. We did a mission and we got a good chunk of the way into it. We
did really well.
We did like a whole multi-segment thing and got to what I feel like was the final fight before we went down.
Maybe.
And I'm curious if there is a console command for like, can I just keep re-going from where I was? But yeah, I think we could set this up with that group of friends we did Bridge Command with relatively easily and have a good time setting the mission up.
I mean, the other thing is we could maybe organise and set up like two ships, because you can spawn multiple ships into the same galaxy and run a mission. And that's the other thing, of course. Like, we've been playing two people running one ship.
Yeah.
And there's no way of knowing from the the scenario selector what the whole thing is set up for. A couple of them do have within the description, this mission can be completed by one ship of this kind.
Yeah. But
not all of them. And it's like, do you want multiple ships?
I do think we could run 2 crews of 2 on 2 ships on a mission, and that would be pretty fun. Because, like, two people on a ship is pretty manageable.
Yeah.
Using we condense the controls down into a couple of positions.
Even easier if you can multi-screen it.
Yeah. So it's an interesting program for sure.
Yeah. It would also be fun to, like, have another copy open just like on the big TV, so that we could have like a main view screen or even a galactic map.
Well,
because that was the one thing we were talking about. The 3-player control setup doesn't have a galactic map option.
Yeah,
it just has the like sector map and then the like immediate navigation within like 5 units.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, is if we could have like a TV and maybe the projector set up to be like view screen and galactic map, and then, like, 2 teams of 2. We could have a proper little adventure going.
I reckon so.
But yeah, what about you? What else have you been playing?
I played a lot more Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Yeah.
I have reached sort of endgame area, got absolutely mauled by what I'm pretty sure is the last boss I would need to defeat in order to see a set of credits. But you're staying tight-lipped on that, which I appreciate. And I just got sort of like pounded by it a couple of times in such a way that just made me go, I need to go back and grind bananas so that I have more appy juice.
Yeah, a couple more health revives.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying that you weren't sure you were feeling the game, and then you had your one very big play session.
Yeah, like I played, I want to say like 2 sessions, and I got as far as about to start the forest area. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's fine. It's alright.
It finds its footing as it goes.
I certainly, like, got more into it having finished, the, like, forest section. And then, like, I kind of got a bit, obsessive with the whole, okay, well, I've got to go back, I've got to get things. So there's like 2 or 3 levels now that I've 100%ed all of the fossils.
Yeah.
And all of the outfits and clothing stuff. And found, as far as I can tell, all of the bananas.
Yeah. And it's not too hard to do so at a certain point where you're like, you know, maybe you upgrade the treasure tie a couple of times, you dig down so that you get some money by finding chests underground, you buy maps to where the collectibles are.
Yep. Oh no, I don't buy maps. I find them.
Oh yeah, you
I will
find them in the
absolutely
chest.
rinse an area. I will find the largest diggable area on the map, dig it out completely, maybe 3 times.
Yeah,
And then that will have paid for my thing. Well, it didn't
Yeah.
help that during that last section, you keep bumping into people who are like, "You're not supposed to be here unless you give me a bunch of money." It's like, what you're saying is that a fine to somebody with enough money is just buying a passage. Interesting, an interesting commentary. And Donkey Kong always punches down. Interesting. So I was, because I got through the first 2 of those, and the last one was like, I want 10,000 gold. I was like, okay, cool. I don't have that. I've just spent all of my money on the last 2 of you bastards. So yeah, that was another reason to sort of head back and do a bunch of grinding. But yeah, I guess I'm probably about ready to attempt that boss again. It is a pain in the arse that it's like, oh, you fucking died. Now you're gonna have to like redo the whole section rather than, I don't know if there's any checkpoints in that fight. But I certainly didn't get to any the multiple times I participated in that fight.
It is a longer fight than, like, it feels like there should be a checkpoint. Yeah. It feels
maybe
like
there is, but there isn't one where I got to.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoying it so far. Again, I can see myself dropping off it again if I don't manage to do it fairly soon, because I'm getting to a point where I'm running out of bananas to find.
Yeah.
Because I think I need like 3 more skill points before I can afford to upgrade apple juice again. So if the amount of apple juice I have is not enough to get me through the boss fight, I'm probably going to end up dropping off it. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yes, I had a very good, many hours long session of DK Bonanza.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about you? Have you played anything else?
I played about an hour and a half of a preview build of Power Wash Simulator 2.
Ooh.
That is a game that's coming out at some point this year. I played a bit of Power Wash Simulator 1 to remind myself of what the differences are when playing this new one. Here's the gist of it. There's a new type of mission that are multi-part missions, and those will sort of reveal themselves in portions to make things easier to do. An example of that is washing the inside and outside of a public toilet cubicle, which doesn't initially reveal itself entirely. The roof is like at floor level, so you can like spray it from above relatively easily. Then the cubicle sort of raises out of the floor, so you can do the walls easily. And then it opens up the door once you've done the outside, so that it's not like one overwhelming thing of like, oh god, there's so much to do. It's like, there's a bit, we'll reveal a bit more, we'll reveal a bit more. Made it feel less of an overwhelming challenge, even if it was like, yay, I'm done. Oh no, the door opened, it's terrifying in there. So that's a new type of mission there is. There's a couple of new ways to get up, to get height on things. Scaffold towers now have ladders up the side of them, so if you don't want to run in circles in first person to get up a scaffold, you can just go up the side of it, which is good for me as a motion sickness prone person. Anything that is less spinning around in first person is very good. There's abseiling towers, which you can sort of, there was a big billboard level, and you can sort of climb up the top and then abseil down in a little seat, so that you have, like, left, right, up and down control on a very large thing that would be otherwise quite difficult to get good positioning on. There are a couple of new quality of life tools, the big one being being able to highlight in bright neon colours any remaining dirt.
Nice.
So if you're trying to clean a section and you're like, why is this section not popping up as completed? Just show me a big glowing thing that's like, oh, that's what's still dirty, is it?
It's just about, it's over here.
It's over here. Which makes it considerably less aggravating to find that tiny little speck of dirt you haven't found, or to realise, like, oh, I have to open this desk and, like, there's a bunch of dirt inside it I hadn't seen. There is a new tool that I love, which is a surface cleaner, which is like a big, huge circle with a spinning brush inside it that is very good for doing, like, floors, walls, anything that is a big flat area with not many details, you can just clear big sections in one go rather than using the power washer that's clearly like a detail-oriented tool to try and clear a whole floor. It reduces the time spent feeling like you are chipping away at a thing that you could be doing very easily. It just feels a lot smoother. It's more Power Wash Simulator. If you enjoyed the first and are itching for more, there's more.
Yeah.
That's really all you need to know about it. There's some quality of life improvements, there's some new tools. It's really just an excuse to have new levels to do Power Wash Simulator in.
Nice.
If you like the first one, you're gonna like this one probably. What about you? What have you been playing?
Last thing I've been playing is a demo for a game called FUMES, which I saw Casey Explosion chatting about on Bluesky. This is it feels very Mad Max. It's a sort of PS1 graphic style. There's a lot of that about at the moment. Clearly like a nice dither shader for like skies and things and scenery. You are like in this wasteland. You're a car with guns. It's a very Mad Max vibe crossed with, I guess, Dead Cells. If only for the fact that when you die, you the purple mist that inhabits the car, the passenger, float off and go and inhabit another car with basically the same setup but different decals. And it's weirdly compelling because you keep being beset by random like bandit gangs. It controls very nicely with keyboard and mouse. I did struggle a bit with a controller, mainly because I couldn't work out how to get into a menu initially and change the inversion for the Y-axis, and I just can't do up is up on a controller in that sort of setting. I was just like, I can't do this. I need this to stop. It's not super well set up for a controller at the moment, and they've also mentioned that like it's fully playable on Steam Deck, but sometimes some of the controls just aren't set up properly for it. And I definitely felt that on a controller. Like, I kept, like, pausing and going into menus and stuff, and then finding that I had no way of controlling anything in there without using my mouse.
Oh, no.
So, it's in early access now. I hope that there is more in the early access release than there is in the demo, but I couldn't find anywhere that was actually going to tell me what the difference was, so I haven't yet gone, I'll dive in on another early access thing. I've become way more jaded with early access in recent years, I'll be honest. But it looks good. It feels really satisfying to just randomly blow up like gangs of little cars with guns and like buzzsaws on the fronts of their vehicles and like, hijacking random trucks and trailers and delivering goods to weird, anomalous buildings around the place. It feels like the sort of thing they wanted to go for Mad Max, the RPG a few years ago, but oh god, it was probably way more than a few years at this point. I only played it relatively recently. It feels good. It's very satisfying, and I wish them luck, and I hope there is more to see and more to do soon. What about you? Have you played anything else?
That's about it for me.
Well then,
time for this.
Hi, welcome to Cybersex Hotel. Our sex bots are completely customizable. You can have any of the butts you want, any of the shoulders you want. If you want a nice turned ankle, we have exactly what you need. But, warning, they could be hacked at any time to murder you, and you must consent to having your sexual techniques recorded and sent to our advertising partners. They have a legitimate interest, Cybersex Hotel. Hello.
Yes?
We've got a new sponsor.
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, have you had just a barrage of bullshit lately?
Oh, you don't know half of it. Oh.
Okay, do I know a quarter of it?
Yeah, you know at least a quarter of it.
At least a quarter of it. That's good to know. That's good to know, right.
Yeah.
Well, have you just thought, that's enough bullshit for me? Bullshit, please.
I mean, look, I know I'm going to have to deal with the bullshit eventually, but it's just like one day where I didn't have to think about the bullshit.
Just a full 24 hours of bullshitting.
Yes, if only such a thing were possible.
Well, it is, thanks to this week's sponsor.
Who's our sponsor? Who are they?
OneQuietDay.lol.net, a personal force field guaranteed to keep bullshit from ruining your day for a full 24 hours. No stressful emails, aggressive individuals, or exhausting work tasks can get through.
Oh, it stops all of those. Wonderful.
Absolutely stopped dead in their tracks.
Oh, fantastic.
You don't have to worry about them for exactly 24 hours.
You're going to have such a peaceful 24 hours.
Perfectly peaceful 24 hours, after which the floodgate will open.
Or what if I just, the instant the floodgate opens, I close it again with another 24 hours? Is that sustainable?
Apparently, there is a health warning about that.
Yeah?
Yes. Apparently, the negative pile-up may become... It just mentions several horror films where someone talks about how good things are going while backing into the middle of a busy traffic.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Not for extended use, then?
No.
Okay, well, you know what? A day will do. I'll take one quiet day.
OneQuietDay.lol.net. Enter the code Q&PS just for fuck's sake. And you can get 15% off your first one quiet day.
Wonderful.
So, what have you put in your eyes and ears?
What have I put in my eyes and ears? Not a huge amount this week. I've been doing a lot of I've been rewatching Haikyuu. Specifically, I've been watching a lot of video essays on YouTube about volleyball anime Haikyuu, and watching reactions to it from professional volleyball players. There's a volleyball player called Sarah Pavan, I believe, who used to be an Olympic volleyball player, and her husband, who was a competitive volleyball player, watching and discussing the volleyball anime, which has been... It's been interesting. The husband of the pair primarily coaches, so he's been doing a lot of commentary from the perspective of what the coaching strategies for the team have been like, thoughts on the positions of who to sub out and when, or training strategies they've gone with, versus Sarah, who is very much on the court, the technique being used in the moment. It's been very interesting watching a lens of people who are very professional digesting a thing that I know from the outside, where I'm like, for all I know, this could be completely and utterly devoid of relevance to the real world sport.
Yeah.
But it's nice to get a sense that there is a degree of realism and thoughtfulness to how high level competitive volleyball is actually played. What about you? What have you been watching?
I watched a film that traumatized me in a way that I kind of forgot to initially write it down as things I watched this week.
I was gonna watch that film, and the universe stepped in to go, you don't need to watch that. And then you described that film to me, and I went, yeah, no. My original thought after I hadn't been able to watch it was I was going to go watch it on Thursday when you were streaming.
On your own.
On my own. And you very much convinced me that was not a sensible plan.
I've watched horror films with you before, and I know the kind of things that you're fine with and the kind of things that you really struggle with, and I think you would really struggle with this film.
Yeah, there's one sentence to do, and I don't even know what to say.
You're not allowed to say it. I'm just going to say the melon scene messed me up. It's quite early on in the film. It's, I want to say, 30 to 40 minutes into the film. And I still think about it and my teeth are scared.
Yeah, that's the one you described and I was like, no thank you, I don't need that in my life.
But I think that's the interesting thing, that is basically the end point, with one exception, of, the part of the film I struggled with the most.
The cringeable, slow, painful violence bit.
Not even that, because that scene is not slow. Because you can see it coming. As someone who's dealt with children before, you know, you don't leave them alone in that manner. And the thing that was stressing me out and upsetting me way before that is the first 20 to 30 minutes of this, we have we'll summarize the film. It is a horror film.
Have we mentioned the name?
From Australia. Yes, bring it back.
Yeah.
I said that I watched it. It's an Australian horror film, and the concept is there's these two children, they're dad died. Sorry, their half siblings. Their dad, both of their dad, is found dead on the shower floor at the beginning of the film, and then they are fostered briefly. The older brother is going to be 18 in 3 months, and he wants to get custody of his sister. And meanwhile, they manage to get convince this woman who was initially like, "Oh, he's been trouble in the past. I'm not sure I'm not sure I want that," but eventually does agree to take both of them together and not separate them out. But quite quickly, we have both children drinking alcohol. One of them is definitely not old enough for that. Manipulation, child neglect. There is another child in the house that is very often just locked in a room and left there and not checked for a really long time, even when they very definitely had an accident. Involving breaking out of their room through a glass window. These were the things that were bothering me most. The reasons that I was like, I don't think this is for me. I might just go home and snuggle my wife who has recently arrived there. These were the things that were bothering me most. Child neglect, child abuse, child abandonment, gaslighting. The gaslighting was very uncomfortable. Setting two children against each other, very uncomfortable. And then the melon scene happened, and I was like, do I just say fuck this movie and leave?
And it didn't get too much worse from there.
From there, it almost settled down. It got, more into its plot, more into... It paid off a lot of stuff that it had been feeding into up to that point. And maybe it was just the fact that something about the melon scene snapped part of me and just made me go, it can't get any worse than this. There are a few moments in the final couple of scenes that just made me go, fucking hell. But nothing was as bad as the melon scene. Yeah, I would struggle to recommend it to anyone. But if you've got a stomach for horror and all of the child abuse, then it's actually quite a good film. Yeah. It's a tough sell. I was gonna say I'm not that squeamish. This film is it did the thing again where the BBFC thing dwelled on this lingers on graphic injury, this lingers on violence and scenes of gore. It didn't talk anything about the psychological danger of a terrible foster parent who is gaslighting you and abandoning one of their children and stuff. Yeah. Those were the things I struggled with.
Yeah.
What did you watch? Something more chipper, I imagine.
We watched the new episode of Strange New Worlds.
We did.
The Star Trek show.
That was fun. They seem to be having fun with that series.
It was silly and funny and goofy. I particularly enjoyed the opening 5 minutes or so.
Because once again, it didn't explain itself. It was just, hey, we're doing original 1960s, 70s Star Trek.
We're doing low-budget, colourful, garish Star Trek.
Yeah.
Without explaining why for a minute. And I loved some of the design choices they did, including the eyeballs on stalks.
Yes.
With the very clear hands holding the stalks were great.
What? No.
The definitely not making fun of a certain Star Trek actor.
It's called acting.
Definitely wasn't a story about Gene Roddenberry being salty. Definitely wasn't about that. It was very fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was interesting to see those actors doing different things rather than just what we know them from Strange New Worlds.
I'm continuing to very much enjoy the new Scotty actor.
Oh yeah, he's great.
He's exactly the right energy for that role. For a young version of that character.
I do like that it's going to take him a while to fully grow into that. I do know everything. I am confident. I am very highly skilled.
Yeah.
We already know he's very highly skilled.
He's got the skills. He doesn't necessarily have the command of the room that he's going to need.
Or the confidence.
Yeah.
But I imagine that will come with more being a fucking badass multiple times.
And we finished watching which season of Doctor Who?
Season 5.
Season 5. We completed season 5.
We had the Pandorica.
We did. Of the season finales, it's one of the ones that I was like, I remember the broad strokes. I don't remember any of the specifics of how we get through this.
The whole season, I just sat there going, I know I've watched this at least 3 times and I could not tell you a fucking thing about it.
It's not...
Apart from, I know that people keep saying that the silence will fall. I remember the cracks in the wall. I remember, I remember the Pandorica.
It's not that any of the episodes in season 5 felt particularly, forgettable while watching them. They all felt like they should be well-remembered classic episodes.
I mean, maybe not... It's not, the best written stuff.
No, but...
they're not totally uninteresting stories.
Yeah. I wasn't so sure at first when we had that episode where it's like, oh, we've brought back the Weeping Angels again, and it's...
Yeah.
There's
to be fair, it wasn't the Weeping Angels in Manhattan, which I think is a way worse episode.
Yeah, the second appearance of the Weeping Angels is one where, I spent maybe 50 to 60% of the episode going, you know what, it kind of feels like a waste that we brought them back. They should have stayed a one-off.
Only for it to be this actually tells a very interesting, different story.
Yeah, it waits until the last 40% to go, oh, you flipped this on its head in a really interesting way. You made it mechanically different, and you did something unique with it.
Yes.
I wish that they'd gotten to some of those unique aspects. And in its credit, that episode does introduce one new aspect of the Weeping Angels very early on. I just wish, the middle of, that middle chunk of the episode felt like it got to the other unique aspects of how they were going to do the Weeping Angels earlier, rather than going, it feels like we're doing 2.0 for a while.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, and I could be wrong, I think we flipped from Russell T Davies in charge to Stephen Moffat in charge, because we have a lot more Moffat-written episodes.
Yeah.
And Moffat-written episodes under Moffat lead tends to be a little bit more floaty and not as good. Whereas I felt like him writing under Russell T Davies just made for better, more controlled stuff that fit into more interesting stories.
Agreed. Yes. It felt like under Russell T Davies, for Moffat to get an episode, he had to come up with something unique and new that could be done and over in a single episode.
He does really good ones.
Yeah, and that you could walk away from and go, that was a great one-off.
Yeah.
When he is in charge and also writing stories, it feels like he has a lot more room to go, oh, well, I'll just do this thing again, and I'll use a good portion of the episode just kind of spinning my heels on, that thing I'm going to do for the finale.
Yeah, he needs an editor.
He does, yes. But yeah, there was a lot of very good episodes in there. I'm not there's a lot about Rory that feels... He annoys me perhaps more than Mickey did. There were times watching this season where I was like, I'd rather have Mickey back, honestly.
But
as much as I had
Mickey grew so much by the end. So.
Yeah. But I'd rather take early annoying Mickey than Rory in some cases.
Yeah, I remember really struggling with Rory the first time as well. Because, thinking about it entirely subjectively now, I understand, hey, there's this person who your soon-to-be wife has been obsessed with since childhood.
Yes.
And there's literally no way you can, live up to that. Especially when she made you dress up as him when you were kids playing together.
Yeah, but also, I feel like there should be an I feel like what his character lacks is that frustration and tension could sit alongside, I am actually really excited for you that this person that everyone kind of assumed wasn't real is real. And also we're traveling space and time.
Yeah.
And, I can be amazed and enraptured by that and glad to be exploring it with you, even if I'm also a little jealous at the same time.
I don't think it helps that the show is large... The companions are very often there just to reflect the Doctor.
Yeah.
So having a season where the Doctor kind of takes the piss out of Rory a lot, and Rory kind of resents the Doctor, it's very hard to love Rory.
Well, it's hard to like the Doctor in some of those moments.
Yes!
there's a lot of those moments where it's like,
You're kind of a knob.
yeah, you're being kind of a dick, and Rory's being kind of a whiny little shit, and like, it's not enjoyable to watch that dynamic.
No.
It's... I feel like there's a way you could do Rory right, and a lot of the time it feels like he is seeing, like, literal new planets and alien races, and he's like, yeah, but I need to have a little sulk, though. I need to be a bit sulky.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just be amazed by the universe for a moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if I did, I think he works in the finale. I think he works in the Pandorica stuff.
I think he does, and I think it helps that by the time the Pandorica has happened, like that whole thing has been written out, that he is less wowed by the Doctor, less intimidated by the Doctor, and, like, more independent.
I think it also helps that we've not seen him on screen for a little while, and we've had enough space to go...
He did die.
Well, yeah.
And get deleted from the
Well,
universe.
yeah, I wasn't going to say that that's how it happened, but like...
I mean, it's been 15 years, I think...
I know, I wasn't, I wasn't opposed to saying it, but what I'm getting at is, him not being around for a little bit gave me some space to forget some of his more annoying traits, and to appreciate him a little more upon his return, and having that gap have him come back a little different, maybe go, maybe I'm being a little harsh on him, he seems pretty good. And I'm like, no, it's you gave me some distance and you tweaked him a bit, but...
Yeah. I think the Pandorica opens and, whatever the final episode is called.
Pandorica Part 2.
Pandorica Part 2. I think that two-parter is really interesting, even though, like, it is called from space multiple times. Like, I feel like that one is way less subtle with its messaging of what it's gonna be from very early on.
Yeah.
Like, even in that first episode of that season, we have the Doctor saying, the thing you'd never put in a trap is me.
Yeah.
And then the whole series culminates to, a trap for me that I do not see coming, despite all of the signs.
It feels like Moffat was, like, it's alright to have a couple of Chekhov's guns lying around.
He just thinks he's cleverer than he is.
The problem is having a Chekhov's gun and then having a character point at it and go, my name's Chekhov. That's my gun. Don't forget about that. I'm going to use it by the end of this story. Like, it's a little too ready to pat itself on the back for I set a thing up.
Yes.
Yeah, what about you? What you been watching? Anything else?
That's it for me.
Well then, time for this.
Inside the boardroom of Supremacy Software.
Hi.
So, I got some news for you.
Oh.
So, you know how we own a bunch of companies that own a bunch of companies who own a bunch of companies that own a bunch of companies, and like there's a whole like tree of companies that own things, and we're sort of
Well, you say a tree, I prefer to think of it as a monopole.
well, yeah, but there's a bunch of things that like we don't technically have the rights to, even though we created, but like some subsidiary somehow connected to us owns the rights to the
We
thing.
keep buying things, eventually we own all of the IP.
Yeah, and it can sometimes be a bit fiddly to be like, we want to make a thing, but we can't make the thing because, like, working with other people that have part of the rights, blah, blah, blah. Well, there was a bankruptcy of a subsidiary.
Awesome.
And as a result, we have regained the rights to some projects from that subsidiary.
Nice. That was so much easier when there's no red tape.
Yeah, exactly. So you remember we were working on that book about how amazing we are.
Yeah.
That book about how we, Rick and Chad, are amazing.
How we
wonderful.
hunt the whale.
We hunt the whales and get all of their money.
Yeah.
We hunt the whales.
If you ever wondered who did it, it's us.
It's us. We hunt the whales.
We do.
Well, we finally got the rights to that back. I don't know how that subsidiary ended up with our book rights. Seems a little unfair, but...
It was probably for tax purposes.
Probably for tax purposes.
Yeah, we probably filled something.
We have the book rights back.
Awesome.
So, we can finally make that audiobook adaptation that we have been wanting to make for years.
I am hype as fuck.
I am very excited to be me telling people how awesome we are at taking people's money from them.
I'm gonna say that you are a fucking genius.
I know.
Also me.
You,
want some of this.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking about, like, it's been, nice recently that people are, like, flipping the Monopoly table, as people are saying.
Oh, yeah.
I've been thinking, what if there was a marginally less violent way of dealing with billionaires?
Yeah.
Only marginally, mind. Yeah. What I'm thinking, right? You know how when someone's got like a bag of chips, right?
Yeah.
Like one of them open cones of chips. Maybe they've got like salt and vinegar on it.
Oh,
or I should say, brewed condiment on it.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're walking along the seafront, maybe, yeah. And then like seagull come down and they'll die. The first one will just dive bomb straight into it.
Oh yeah.
They won't even be after a chip.
Yeah, knock it to the floor.
Exactly, knock
it
to the floor, cascade it. At that point, the rest of the gang swoop in and they're all ready to just like.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to grab them all back before we get them. Yeah,
no way. Right, what if we could train seagulls, to dive bomb billionaires and take all their money?
Oh yeah, they're at the ATM, dive bomb them as they're putting their pin in. Oops, you accidentally requested 10 times as much money. Oop, we grabbed the bills.
Well, I don't know if billionaires actually use ATMs. But maybe they climbed out of a limousine outside of I don't know, like one of them horrible venture capitalist finance places. Yeah,
Are we training enough seagulls to steal the car?
Maybe if we got enough of them together, they could lift an entire limousine or whatever.
What were you thinking of them stealing?
Well, maybe the billionaire.
Oh, I mean that works.
Yeah, or just. Like all of their finances, just maybe like steal their house or something, or like the entire investment trust firm that.
That would take a lot of seagulls, but also
there's a lot of seagulls.
There's a lot of seagulls.
There's a lot of seagulls about
looking for chips, and I feel like I can afford to pay them enough chips to do this.
BlackRock, more like chip shop. We just sellotape a lot of chips to the building, and then the seagulls do the job for us. Yeah,
that sounds like a very, very tenable position. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Do you know what I want to see more of?
Oh, what do you want to see more of?
Social Justice Warriors. Yeah.
All right, Larry.
All right, Barry. How you doing?
Well, not bad, mate, not bad. I'm enjoying the fact that the heat has broken a little bit. That's been nice.
Oh, yeah.
I've not been feeling like I've been literally melting in my skin every day,
It's been nice having just that little bit less but of a melting sensation.
Yeah, like 3 degrees has really made a difference, I'll be honest, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You doing alright, mate?
Oh, doing alright. I have seen a list of people that I do wish were about 3 degrees hotter, though, so they were having a less pleasant time. That's about as much ill will as I'm going to wish them, today, but... Yeah, they're making new audio books for that Wizard series, the Turf Wizard series.
Oh, so there's a board game and there's a new series.
Yeah,
and they're redoing the audiobooks.
Yeah, they're redoing the audiobooks apparently, and a bunch of celebrities what you've heard of are doing voices on them. The one that I remember off the top of my head is Hugh Laurie.
Interesting. So we've had Stephen Fry, and now we're getting Hugh Laurie.
Yeah, and we're getting an awful lot of much like we've been having for a few weeks with the TV show announcements. People signing up to be on the Turf Wizard project,
proudly announcing they're on the Turf Wizard project,
and then very quickly doing this doesn't mean I'm anti-trans, and I should be allowed to make money out of this without feeling bad about the connections to transphobia. No. I should be able to separate those two things out, and
No, fuck
Just
off
no,
with that.
fuck off.
Fuck off with that bullshit. I genuinely could not give less of a shit about, these people going, well, yeah, but I've always wanted to play that character. I've always thought I'd be a good fit for them, and I shouldn't have to turn down a job I'd like to do that pays well just because I don't agree with the views of it. No, fuck off. If you
just say it with your full chest.
Yeah.
You're a dick.
you either the money or the thing you want to do is more important to you than the fate of trans people.
Look, the Nazis pay well. That's all I can say. Seems to be their whole thing.
Rowling has made it incredibly clear that she views any support of her project as tacit support for transphobia.
And she is using the money to, chisel away trans rights.
She's actively using it to fund court cases to take away trans people's rights.
Yeah.
If you work on a project that's going to make her money, you are facilitating her taking away trans rights.
Yeah, you are also taking away trans rights.
Yeah, you are
shepherding trans rights into the fire.
Yep, you've accepted a paycheck going, you know what, this paycheck is enough that I'm willing to throw trans people down the river.
They don't matter, do they? No, not nearly as much as me getting to be a fucking fantasy wizard, I've always wanted.
I will maintain what I've been saying for a while. If at this point in time, you as an adult sign on to do work on a Harry Potter project,
get fucked.
Get fucked. I'm never paying money to see any piece of media you are involved in ever again, because fuck that.
Right, yeah. Fancy hug, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Good hug, mate. Good hug.
Good luck.
I hear Ursula K. Le Guin's good.
Yeah.
So, Laura,
Yes.
where people find things you do on the internet?
Laura K. Buzz. Find stuff what do. The big one I'm going to point people at right now is if you go to laurakbuzzstore.com, you can pick up a bundle of Things I Learned from Mario's Butt as an audiobook, ebook, and set of art files.
Ooh.
You can get Things I Learned from Mario's Butt as an audiobook and then read it and look at pictures of butts.
And it's got guest voices.
It's got guest voices from a bunch of people. Who can I remember off the top of my head?
Justin McElroy?
Justin McElroy, there's Stuart Ashens, there's Brian Altano, Max Scoville, Greg Miller, Tim Gettys, Alana Pierce,
Steph?
Little Karibo, Stephanie Sterling, Slow Beef, Dan Bull, shit ton of people telling you about butts. You can learn about such amazing butts as maybe my favourite. I'm going to tease this one. The one that I always get very excited to tell people about is Brian Altano writing an iambic pentameter poem about the Bloodborne hunter trying not to shit himself in fear. It is a genuine work of art, that poem, and I am very appreciative it exists every time I remember it. You can learn about
Seaman's butt?
Seaman's butt, Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins, mooning people at the top of ladders. You can learn about Tetris butts.
Such as iBlog.
Yeah, you can learn about how Thomas Was Alone is secretly a video game all about butts, direct from developer Mike Bithell.
Dizzy?
Dizzy's butt review is in there.
Solid Snake?
So many butts.
Even Mario.
Right, even Mario. LauraKBuzzStore.com, you can get a DRM-free audiobook, ebook, and art files. Go check that out, because you may have heard Unbound/Boundless imploded, and I'm trying to get my books back out into the world, and this is stage 1 of that rollout.
Stay tuned for us sitting down and spending a long time recording, editing, mastering, and getting guest voices for Who Hunts the Whale audio.
Yeah, that can happen now. A thing that we wanted to happen for.
We wanted to happen ages ago, and they were just like, no, we're just going to try and option it to someone else.
Yeah. No idea if anything will ever happen from that optioning that happened. But
I wanted us to do the voices of Rick and Chad.
Exactly.
Because we've always played them.
We're going to do that audiobook. At some point, you're going to get an audiobook of Who Hunts the Whale, and you'll love it. It'll be great.
It'll be great.
What about you? Where are you out on the internet?
Patreon.com/Don'tMonkeyRadio. As little as $1 a month helps this series keep happening. Yeah, and other stuff. I also stream on Thursday nights, most Thursday nights. At the moment, we are looking to play Peak. I picked it up at the end of last week's stream, so we might be playing Peak this Thursday if you're listening to this early. We might have already played Peak, and you can check out a VOD if you're listening to this on regular release. That's all from me, Laura.
Yeah.
Will you sing us out, please, darling?
Until next time, be a stranger.